Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about my end of year TBR, and by TBR I do genuinely mean books that I will be reading by the end of the year. I didn't want to overwhelm myself because I am currently in like the first 20 pages of November 9 by Colleen Hoover, so that's gonna eat up a little bit of my time. Like, I'm literally filming this halfway through November already, if not just over that, so we've got some busy days coming up with Christmas and everything, but I think 6 books is going to be fine, and these are books that I'm really excited to read, so I feel like I will make time for them, and I've got some time off in between Christmas and New Year, so I'm just very excited. A lot of these books you will see were on my November TBR just because I haven't had a chance to go through all those books. I kind of carried them over, and I'm not going to do a December TBR just because obviously this is it, and I do want to get 1 or 2 Christmas books in there. I feel like I would really like to get into like a Christmassy rom-com, but I don't know, maybe I'll just watch like Love Actually for like the billionth time. So if you want to see what books I'm going to be reading for the end of the year, then keep on watching. Some of these books I'm not going to go super into just because A, everybody knows them, and B, they may have been part of my November TBR, in which case I will link that down below where I probably talk about them in a little bit more detail. But let me start with the first book, which was part of my November TBR, and that is Bunny by Mona Awad. I am so excited to read this. This will be my next read, I'm pretty sure. It literally is like dark academia, but also just like dark humor. It's satire, it's a bit horror-y, it's weird. As much as people have spoken about this, I feel like people either love it or hate it. It's a bit of a Marmite situation, but I feel like I'm gonna love it. So hopefully this will be like a 5-star read for me. Okay, so the next book that I've got is another November TBR featured book, and that is Toshikazu Kawaguchi's Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I do have the second book already, and I want to get into that in the beginning of next year, so I thought I would get a move on and start with this one, especially because the third one's actually already out. I believe that you can read them as standalone books because they're just a collection of short stories, but I just want to do it in that order, like whatever. But I've heard people say that they have sobbed absolute tears when reading these books. I love to sob after a book. This sounds like it's right up my street. If you don't know yet,
which I'm pretty sure you do because everybody, I feel like, has either read or know about this book.
It's about this cafe where you can go and it lets you kind of go back in time, or like basically you can speak to people who are like dead, and some people use it to speak to their loved ones, blah blah blah. There's rules, and I think the main rule is that you just have to come back before your coffee gets cold. So yeah, so I have been wanting to read a classic for a while now, and I thought November was going to be the perfect time for it, so hopefully I can squeeze this in somewhere. But the book that I want to get to is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Now this is only, let's see, 220 pages, I think 219 to be exact. I just really wanted to squeeze some sort of classic in there, and it was either this or The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, and I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna stick with this one instead because it's a slightly shorter book. Yeah, I just can't wait. Okay, so the next book that I have is another November TBR featured book. I wanted something a bit thrillery in my TBR. I was going to buy Rock, Paper, Scissors, however I am on a book buying ban, which is not going as well as it should, but it's going better than it normally would. Okay, Dr. Seuss. I have a few thriller books, but I feel like the skeleton of like how these books are made are very similar. I've spoken about it so many times before, in that if it's one of those murder mystery Cluedo style, you just need a place where they're all at, about 6 different types of people, a dead body, and then it's just you playing Poirot. So I thought, let's kind of see what we've got going on here. What kind of theme am I going for? I did think I would go for the guest list, but I actually ended up going for The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley, just because people have said that this is like the better book, so maybe I should have done it the other way around. Okay, who cares? But apparently this is actually quite a good thriller book, despite the fact that it is literally like based in an old apartment block. Somebody is missing or dead or whatever, and there's like the lonely wife, the party animal, the curtain twitcher, the secret lover, the watchful caretaker, the unwanted guest. Sign me up. So the next book I'm going to show you is one that I completely am surprised that I have not got round to it. It is something that has just been super high my TBR when I first got it, right at the beginning of the year, and it seems to be a well-loved book by everybody, but it is Madeline Miller's The Song of Achilles. I just feel like I would love this. I think I've said it before in my videos where I do want to get into like a fantasy era, whereas I feel like Greek mythology is kind of like a subgenre of like the fantasy realm. I feel like it's the one that I'll be most excited to read about, just because it's quite familiar. I just can't wait to read a romance that apparently will just rip your heart open. I cannot wait to get through this. Okay, last and most certainly not the least, it's Donna Tartt's The Secret History. I have like 11 days off, like in between Christmas and New Year, and I wanted to be able to pick this bad boy up and just read it and enjoy it whenever I wanted. I wanted to basically dedicate time to this bad boy, and what better time than to pick this up just after Christmas, where it's going to be still cozy, it's going to be cold, it's going to just be me lazing around in the house with this book, and I can annotate and I can tab. Oh, it's gonna be so good. This is, you know, this is just a classic. This is the dark academia in its prime. So I just cannot wait to get into this, and I think next year I'm gonna read a bunch of other dark academia books that I haven't read yet, and I don't know, maybe I'll do like a video about rating the big dark academia 5, which is, I would say, probably this, Ninth House, If We Were Villains, and I don't know, I'm just spitballing here. But yeah, I cannot wait to read this. And if you don't know what this is about, this is your typical dark academia where it's in a university setting and someone dies. And I cannot wait to get into this. I think this is probably, I feel like this is my most anticipated read of this year, just in general. So yes. Okay, so those are all the books that I am going to be reading. I'm manifesting that. That's why I said I'm going to be reading. But those are the books I'm going to be reading by the end of this year. 6 books, and then Colleen Hoover's November 9. I feel like it's realistic. So I'm hoping to get a few books as well over Christmas, because I have been asked for my book wish list. So fingers crossed. But yeah, those are my end of year TBRs. Let me know if you've read any of those, or if you're also planning to read any of those by the end of the year or whatever. Just let me know. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. And if you're also on Instagram, feel free to follow my Bookstagram, which is at Big Sis Reads. Everything will be linked down below. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!
Bye.